this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is The Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart episode by episode The Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast. We always bring up spoilers. This one has a lot of links to lore, so there will be spoilers.
Definitely. Yeah, this week we're talking about season 3, episode 9, Homecoming,
Classic.
aka Michael's Wake.
Yeah.
I love this episode.
Yeah, it's really not a true homecoming, like, at all.
No, not in any way.
It's a very unique episode. We were talking about this a lot before we started filming, where it's like, it falls in a very weird place in, like, TVD, like, connections in history, because it doesn't feel like a dance at all. It's sort of more like a Lockwood party, but even then, it's very different.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, you know, I mean, we'll get into this more, but many of the people attending the party
are randos.
Are just randos. Like, they're just hybrids Klaus has picked up along the way. So it's like, you don't remember, like, Carol being there or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's a weird episode. It's a very weird standout. But we'll be getting to the whole homecoming of it all. Yeah. Of course, we've got to start with the pregame of Homecoming, which is at the Salvatore house, as always. Stefan is calling Klaus. We're picking up pretty much where we left off in the last episode of, like, they're going to do this whole thing to get Klaus. And so Stefan is calling Klaus, who immediately reveals he's in the woods in Portland making hybrids. I was like, I guess it's not that hard to figure out where Klaus is after all like,
also,
drama.
He's looked all summer for werewolves, and now he knows where so many are.
He knows where all of them are.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess he had his researchers working, like, overtime now.
I guess.
Like, now it's important.
Yeah, now it's real.
Yeah. So he's found werewolves, clearly indicating to us as listeners, watchers, that we're, like, going to get more hybrids. He's making more hybrids. But Stefan doesn't care about that. He immediately hits him with the, your father's dead. Klaus, who was, like, really, like, kind of excited, happy, vibing, proud of himself, is like, what?
Yeah.
He obviously needs every single detail of how that possibly happened.
Yeah.
And so Stefan goes on to explain, well, not your actual father. And not actually dead. Michael, daggered. Then we cut back an hour earlier, and we see Stefan, Damon, and Elena are plotting how it could have gone down if they, like, killed Michael.
Yes.
And they're saying, like, maybe he was going after Elena. They all vervained him. It's got to be all of them. Let's be real. He's an original.
Yeah.
And Elena asks, what happens if Klaus wants to see Michael's body? They're worried that Stefan might get, like, tripped up since he's compelled by Klaus, that he's not going to be able to just lie to him. They don't know, like, what will go down if Klaus asks the wrong question. Yes. And then Michael appears, revealing that he's, like, in the scheming with them. And he says, I'll have to really be dead then. And they just need to lure Klaus so that Michael can kill him. And Michael reveals that he's in possession of a stake that was fashioned from the wood of the ancient white oak tree, just like we were all speculating in the last episode, that is what he actually has. And while Michael is saying this, he has, like, one of the daggers that we've seen before that Klaus always uses. Yeah. And he's prepping it with the white oak ash. And he's telling them that he doesn't have the stake with them, him. It's, like, hidden somewhere. And that's his insurance policy, that, you know, they'll have to wake him back up from his daggering in order to actually get the stake to kill Klaus. Yeah. Then he turns to Elena with the dagger, and because, you know, any vampire who uses it will die, that leaves it to Elena to actually be the one to dagger Michael.
Which, again, this comes up later. I know she has daggered Elijah, but it's just so... It's unbelievable. It's wild.
Yeah, it really is crazy. Just little old Elena. And so they're saying, you know, like, that they can't leave anything up to chance. Yeah. They got to do this in order to help Stefan basically lie through this. Yeah. So we cut back to the present day with Stefan on the phone to Klaus, who smartly asks Stefan, like, very much invoking his compulsion, like, answer with your life. Is what you are saying the truth? So clearly, like, with the compulsion, he must say for real if Michael is daggered. And we get, like, a really quick flashback to Elena actually daggering Michael while Stefan is just, like, sitting in an armchair watching. Yeah. They took it so seriously.
Basically out of the corner of his eye. Like, he's just like, I saw it.
Yeah. And so he says to Klaus, it's true, I saw it with my own eyes. And I'm just surprised they didn't use this for an ad for AT&T or some other phone.
Oh, my God.
To do, like, a video call or at least text a photo. I was like, that would be just as easy.
When I started the photo, I thought they texted a photo. I really just, like, for some reason, I gaslit myself into remembering that. Yeah, it makes so much sense. Just text him a picture of his dead body.
Yeah. It's weird to be like, I'll take you at your word.
Yeah, what? Which I also have problems with. Why would Klaus believe this? They're all the ones who woke Michael in the first place. Why would they wake him a day goes by. They're like, actually, we should dagger Michael.
We should kill him. Yeah,
I don't know.
It is really weird because I think, like, obviously he's relying on the fact that because Stefan is compelled that he's not going to just outright lie. He can't. He literally can't.
He can't.
But come on, Klaus is like the king of knowing like loopholes,
exactly,
and ways around things, and it's really unbelievable that he would just trust Stefan. But I guess so. What comes next though is of course then Klaus doesn't really trust Stefan and them.
Yes.
And so he demands to talk to Rebekah, who of course he does trust. And she is right there. And Stefan puts her on the line and Rebekah confirms it's true. She says, he's finally out of our lives for good. I miss you. I'm miserable here.
Aww.
I really feel for Rebekah.
I know. Honestly, in this episode, I feel for both Klaus and Rebekah.
I do too.
I'm like, they get a bad rap.
Well, Michael's just the worst, and even though he's on our like team in this one, you're still like, he sucks.
He's the
like,
worst.
Of course, we feel bad for them.
We don't support him at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is interesting how like I feel like a Rebekah and a lot of Vampire Diaries I don't really like or support, but and I do in originals. But even at this point, I'm like, I just feel so bad for her that even if I don't particularly like or support her, it's so hard to not be sympathetic to her.
Yeah, I know. That's how I feel too, especially in later scenes, which we'll get to.
But even in this one of being like, I'm miserable here to Klaus. He did just wake her up and abandon her.
Yeah,
with a bunch of randos.
True. Yeah, people she doesn't necessarily like.
Yeah. So, and basically, I think forced her to stay there to keep an eye on Stefan and Elena. So, yeah, it sucks for her. But anyway, Klaus tells her that he's coming home, and Rebekah says like she'll see him soon. And she hangs up the phone and she tells the rest of them that it worked, that he's coming back. Mm-hmm. So clearly Rebekah was like the real trusting element for Klaus there to like be like,
definitely.
Okay, I guess this is legit. I'm still wary, but I will check this out.
I'll come back.
Yeah,
okay.
You got me. I'm interested. Mm-hmm. And so Elena says to them, like, let's just get this over with. And she pulls the dagger from Michael's chest, of course, like starting the transition of waking him back up.
Yeah.
But then we cut to the next morning, of course. It looks like the next morning. It must have taken a while for Michael to come back, too. And Rebekah's just sitting there painting her toenails.
Yep.
As Michael's, like, dead body is just laying right there, which is, like, I love her for that. That's so funny.
I know.
Just waiting for your dad to wake up from his death.
Yeah.
While painting your toenails.
Also, while looking great. Her hair looks amazing.
Oh, my God. I was going to say this at the end of the scene that, like, Rebekah just looks so beautiful in this scene. And I think she strikes, and generally, but I was thinking in this one because in this scene, she's not trying to look like the high schooler with the feathers in her hair and all of that. Yeah. But, like, she strikes the perfect balance between looking timeless and looking modern. Mm-hmm. And you can believe that she really is this, like, old vampire who's just got this, like, grace and elegance and beauty that feels so timeless. Yes. She doesn't have iPhone face, for sure.
No, she doesn't.
No iPhone face. Like, Claire Holt is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I was really thinking that in this scene too. I was like, she looks so good.
Yeah, I was like, thank God. I think it looks like the feather's gone.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're good. I'm like, okay, finally.
Yeah, bounced back.
Yeah, but anyway, Michael starts to wake up a little bit. You know, he gets a little finger twitch and then he's back. And we see Rebekah like starts to talk to him and she's like, listen, whatever fatherly thing you have to say to me, don't. And Michael's just like, okay. Sounds good.
He's like, okay, cool, saves me the trouble.
Yeah, where's my dagger? That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Rebekah tells him that Elena has it so that Michael can't use it against her. And Michael tells Rebekah that she was never what he was after. But she says that being after Klaus meant that he was after her. And Michael tells her that Klaus blinded her. He killed Esther. Just going on all these things, like still trying to sort of turn Rebekah against Klaus, because even in this scene you can tell like she's not fully turned against him. Like she's definitely a liability, which we'll get into. She's not fully on their side.
That's a whole thing this episode.
Yeah. And then Rebekah is like, yes, Klaus did kill Esther and he will pay for that with his life, but none of us were born killers. That is the fault of you and Esther for turning us into vampires, which is what made us like this.
Yeah.
Michael, like, she's telling him, like, you're the one that destroyed our lives, not Klaus.
Yeah, she says, you destroyed our family. Which I think is so interesting because that was obviously the whole point of why he did this was to protect the family. Them, and instead he made them into monsters and destroyed their entire bond. Yeah. And Rebekah just marches out after that.
Yeah,
obviously,
she's just
like
done.
No part of it.
Yeah.
So that's where we'll leave Rebekah and Michael for now. At the Gilbert house, Elena is looking in her closet trying to pick out a dress for homecoming. Classic. And Bonnie is sitting on the bed looking at Alaric's photos of the Viking drawings. And Elena's complaining about how she hates her closet and has nothing to wear to homecoming, which is so real.
She was shitting on the runway show before
yeah.
in last episode. Don't you wish you thought to do that? Or could have done that?
No, don't you wish you just were nice to Rebekah? She probably would have given you all the other dresses. But
Yeah,
like, I don't need them. I got mine.
She would have.
Go ahead, take them.
Yeah.
Elena would have loved them.
So
Pays to be friends with people, Elena.
It does.
But anyway, Bonnie tells her, like, Bonnie doesn't want to go to the dance, clearly. She tells Elena to stay home with her and order takeout and overanalyze ancient hieroglyphic thingies with Alaric, which I'm like, girls' night.
I was going to say, love Bonnie. She gets it.
Yeah, that would have been us, I feel like.
Oh,
in high
for
school,
sure.
Skipping a dance to look at hieroglyphs.
Yeah, something random. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But Elena says that they do have to go because Caroline will kill them if they don't.
Yeah.
But Bonnie says, Caroline actually has a date, which is obviously a acknowledgement of the unsung story of Bonnie and Jeremy. And, like,
Yeah.
it's so awkward. Elena says, like, we can talk about it. Like, you can tell me about these things. But Bonnie says, like, what's done is done. Like, she's kind of just trying to brush it off. And Elena pushes. Like, she's like, Jeremy hurt you. And, like, I'm mad about that, too. But Bonnie says, you're mad at your little brother. You'll yell at him a little. You'll teach him a life lesson out of this. But, like, you can't really be mad at him like I'm mad at him. Which Bonnie very maturely says, and you shouldn't have to be. He is your brother. So, no, I can't really talk to you about it. I'm really glad they included this conversation. It is such an awkward, like, thing to just not acknowledge that I'm glad that they were like, yeah, we have to directly have a scene acknowledging this, because that obviously would cause a bit of a rift in the friendship if it isn't addressed.
Yeah, definitely. And big payoff, too, because it comes back around, which we'll see.
Yes, it has a larger purpose.
Yeah. But yeah, having that conversation. And then after that, Elena must go over to the Salvatore house where she and Damon are prepping weapons.
Yeah.
She has like, Elena has like all of these weapons out in like a, some sort of like leather case thing that they all go in. And Damon is like mixing, we don't see it at this point, but we see he's mixing wolfsbane in the sink to fill the wolfsbane grenades with.
Yeah.
Sure. And Elena is telling Damon they can't trust Rebekah not to turn on them because Bonnie was right about the bond between siblings. So this is like the big payoff of having that conversation.
Yeah.
And Klaus like is Rebekah's brother. She might be mad now, but there are way too many people in on this plan that can make it go wrong. And one of them is obviously Rebekah. Yeah. And Damon is of course like, well, I have a secret contingency plan. And of course Elena's like, what is it? But Damon won't tell her because if he did, then it wouldn't be a secret. And he kind of like, makes a nod like toward like the door, like he might not want someone to overhear. And then we see Stefan comes in under the guise of needing to borrow a tie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of thought this might show like maybe some of his jealousy is peeking through because
interesting.
I thought this was such a random interjection, like for him to come in and need a tie. So random that I'm like,
interesting.
Maybe he was like thinking, they were in there. Well, no, I was thinking maybe that Damon and Elena being in there together, he was like
wanted to know.
Yeah, he's like, I want to insert myself a little bit.
Interesting.
But anyway, he says he's looking for a tie. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Elena's like, you could just not go to the dance. That would be so much better. But Stefan says he has to because he's compelled to protect Elena, and Elena has a terrible track record at dances. True.
Very true. That. Yeah, it's only gonna get worse after this one. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
the
sure.
The next dance.
Oh God, yeah, not good. And Stefan kind of leaves for a second while Elena starts picking up the wolfsbane grenade, and she and Damon fight over who's gonna fill it.
Yeah.
Again, having like another cute little moment.
Yeah, protective.
Yeah, very coupley. And then Stefan comes back with a bunch of tie options. And it's like, please tell me your plan is better than just having a wolfsbane grenade. And Damon just tells Stefan, like, the less he knows, the better. And Stefan is like, but my freedom rests on this plan, so I have the right to be a little bit cynical here. And Elena points out that if Klaus even asks Stefan the wrong question, it's over.
Yeah, it all falls apart.
Yeah, it all falls apart. And Stefan is like, fair, you got me there. It could be me that ruins it. But if we look back on history of epic plan failures, it's usually because one of us let our humanity get in the way. Obviously insinuating he doesn't have his humanity on. He says,
Yeah.
if we're taking odds on how this goes down, it's definitely not going to be me who screws this up. See you at homecoming. Can't wait.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely some good, like, irony that pays off at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it is good. And it's interesting to say that humanity is what has ruined their plans in the past, because I don't necessarily think that's true. I would love to, like, make a list of plans they've made and where they've failed, because I'm like, I don't think that's always the case, that humanity is broke. And I don't think that's usually the case, but...
No, I don't think so. I'd have to really think about it. But yeah, I was thinking, yeah, it might come down to, you know, someone not wanting someone to die.
Yeah.
Like when
I guess,
Damon
like,
saved Bonnie.
that's what I was going to say, actually, with the ritual, with, like, the Jenna situation, how that happened because he saved Tyler and Caroline for Elena.
I guess that's true.
I don't know. It's so hard.
So I guess maybe, but...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'd have to analyze it further.
We'd have to think about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But anyway, Caroline and Tyler are at the school painting an old VW bus, which really confused me because I was like, it looks like it's for a 70s decade dance.
Yeah.
But it's homecoming. It's different.
Yeah,
it's not a
themed.
decade dance.
Yeah. If anything, a homecoming is kind of like school spirit vibes. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've seen the bus like in random. We've seen it at the dances before, the decade dances for sure. And we've seen it like in the smokers pit and like random just scenes where people are hanging out there.
True.
So my guess is it's like a school tradition where like every dance they just paint that bus for whatever reason. Like that seems like a high school thing. That's like what small town high schools do.
We definitely did weird stuff like that. Where it's like,
Yeah, I think they actually have like a statue at our school now that people paint every year, but we didn't do that.
Oh.
But it is like a thing
That
schools
would've
do.
been fun.
Yeah. So I just, my headcanon is it's just like a tradition.
Yeah,
You just always
that's
paint the
fun.
bus.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if
I'll
it's
allow
random.
it. I'll allow it.
It probably started from a decade dance though.
Probably. Yeah, the bug feels very like 70s.
Yeah,
something.
definitely.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tyler asks if they can ditch decorating and just go get a real bite. And Rebekah apparently knows people who are into being fed on, and you don't have to compel them. They'll just they like it.
I love this. I love that somehow she figured out like how to get on like Reddit or Craigslist and find these people.
Yeah.
Like how is she coming? Like I doubt they're in Mystic Falls. Maybe.
No. Well, they must be in the surrounding area.
Probably.
I don't know. But yeah, it is weird because it's like, I don't know, maybe Rebekah has like a circle of friends who she can just reach out to somehow.
I guess.
And
From
be
the
like,
20s though?
I don't know. She joins Facebook to like ask them like, hey guys, I'm back from the coffins. Can you please like let me know what the new things
let me
are?
out, LOL.
Yeah, good to be back. The bitch is back. That feels like what Rebekah would be doing on Facebook.
Yeah, that's possible.
But
that
it
makes
is
sense.
weird. But yeah, my first thought was I do fear I would be one of these girls.
Oh no.
At least once. I think anybody watching this, you were liable to
Okay, I
potentially
would
be
do
one
it
of these
once.
girls.
Whatever. I just don't know.
Come on. Yeah, we're all into the vampire thing, obviously.
Yeah, whatever.
Obviously. So we're all possibly one of those girls. Although I do pass out every time I get a
Oh my
shot.
God, I faint so easily.
Or any blood taken.
Yeah,
so,
anytime I give blood.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going back.
No.
But
once, just
I
to
might
figure out
try.
what it's like.
I might try. Yeah.
Fair.
But anyway, Caroline tells him to quit hanging out with Rebekah, the evil blood slut,
Okay.
which is wild.
Yeah,
kind of smart though, kind of wordsmithy there. Not too bad. Kind of Damon levels. But Tyler asks her to play nice at the dance, basically saying like, keep the claws in, which
I hate that. I hate it so much.
Yeah, not
Keep
great.
the claws in. So condescending.
It's so condescending. It's so like, girls are so catty.
Yeah.
Like, don't be.
Stop. Do it for me.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
love
not.
that. Tyler, this is such an up and down episode for me for Tyler.
Yeah.
Like-
Even within the scene, there are some moments that I
Exactly.
like, some I hate.
Yeah, like it's not one overall where I'd say he's bad boyfriend or good boyfriend necessarily, but he's constantly going one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have a lot more to say on that, on a lot of things that he chooses to do in this episode. So, like, continuing with the conversation,
Yeah.
Caroline asks who Rebekah has compelled to bring as her date to the dance, because obviously no one would want to go with her otherwise.
Yeah.
Sans compulsion. But Tyler says that Matt is taking her, that Matt needed a date, and so, you know, he drinks through vein. Like, he'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
She
Yeah,
can't
no big
compel
deal.
him. She can't feed on him. What's the big deal? And Caroline's like, the big deal, Tyler, is that Matt is an innocent, good person who should not be going to dances with evil blood sluts. Again, she drops it again.
Yeah, she drops it again. She thinks it's so good. She's like, I
Yeah.
was onto something there.
She's definitely trying to pull a Damon of coining like a nickname, but
oh,
it doesn't
for
stick
sure.
after
And
this
it just
scene.
does not fly. Yeah, no.
Which, Matt, innocent, good person, he's human. That's what he's got.
That's it. That's all he's got going. Yeah, we talked about this in the special, Why Do People Hate Matt Donovan? Matt is not the innocent good that we all act like he is. Like, he's fine. He's not really, like,
he's
evil.
Human.
Yeah, he's just human. They're just like, oh, human equals good.
Yeah, he's not that morally straight. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, Tyler says, Matt is a guy. Rebekah is hot. Don't overthink it. Which, Caroline loved that.
Oh, yeah.
And so she asks Tyler, is this a sire thing? Like, is this because Rebekah is sisters with Klaus? Like, is it just extending the sire bond? And Tyler says, I'm here hanging streamers. I have glitter all over my hands. If I am sired to anybody, it's you.
Yeah.
Which... he kind of got her with that one.
Yeah, I like that line too. Yeah. It brought Tyler back a little bit for me. I'm like, it was funny and it was also cute. And it was,
because there was some loyalty in that line, I think, of being like, it is true. Dating Caroline requires some work. She is not just going to let you, like, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
you have to be sired to her, basically.
You have to be sort of sired to her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. I was like, fair. He is putting in the work.
Yeah. Also putting in the work, Rebekah is getting ready for the homecoming dance, apparently, like, way before anyone else.
So early, hours.
Like, theoretically, while Caroline and Tyler are just painting and using a glitter gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's in, I think it's, like, one of the rooms in the Salvatore house.
Oh, I thought it was Stefan's room, and I was like, why is she in there?
Too. I was like, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah.
And she's in one of the rooms in the Salvatore house, either way. And she's wearing the dress that Elena said that she liked in the last episode.
Yeah,
which
I loved
did a little
that.
Fashion show, which I loved. But it made the betrayal that much worse.
I know, because she trusts Elena's opinion.
She really did. She was like, maybe we are starting a friendship. Nope. Not even close.
No.
It'll only get worse from here, too. But anyway, Elena comes in while Rebekah is, like, looking in the mirror. And Elena's like, asking her about getting a head start and getting ready early. And Rebekah is like, the embarrassing truth is that I've never been to a high school dance before. Which, like, I don't really see how that's embarrassing. First of all, it's probably less embarrassing than, like, actually having gone, because all dances are, like, inherently embarrassing.
That's true.
And also, when would she have ever had the opportunity to go to a high school dance?
Yeah, literally
certainly
Sally
not in
Hawkins in like 2020 or 1920. Like,
certainly not in 900 or like 1000 whenever she was actually a teenager.
I'm not that well versed on it, but I do think dances were only like just starting to become a thing in like the 10s and 20s.
Yeah.
Like Sally Hawkins and stuff, I think might have been the 20s. But yeah, Sadie Hawkins, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think
Sorry, Sadie Hawkins. But yeah, that's like because Elena acts really surprised. She's like, really?
Yeah, what?
Like your first dance?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not that crazy considering the specific year range she's been in a coffin.
Yeah. Also, at least she's not like Stefan, who's been to probably 1,000. That's more embarrassing, if you ask me.
That's definitely worse.
But yes. So anyway, Rebekah explains to Elena that she and Klaus were always moving around, and therefore she never had time for high school and obviously for dances. And then Elena asks Rebekah if she's heard anything, or Rebekah asks Elena if she's heard anything more from Klaus, and Elena says no, but when he does return, I'm sure he'll do it with flair, which she accurately predicted. And then Rebekah asks if the plan is in place, but she says, like, she doesn't want to know. She doesn't want to know anything to do with it. She just wants to go to the dance, leave killing Klaus to Mikael. Like, she doesn't want any part of it. And Elena is like, I know it's hard, but thank you for helping us get Klaus back to Mystic Falls. And Rebekah, one last time, is like, just be careful. Mikael is not to be trusted. No one in my family can be trusted.
It's true, though.
Poor Rebekah. I mean, it's so true. It's so true, but I feel so bad for her.
Yeah, I do, too.
And at this point, she, like, starts tearing up. And Elena is like, are you okay? And Rebekah says, like, I've spent my whole life both loving and hating Klaus, but I never thought I would be the one helping to plan to put a stake in his heart.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no tears, no tears. I don't want to ruin my makeup.
Yeah.
And Rebekah turns back to look in the mirror, and she asks how she looks, and Elena is like, you're missing one thing, which we all know, all of us rewatchers remember where this scene is going, and I thought she was just jumping right to it, and she was like, the thing you're missing is a dagger in your back.
It's a knife in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Elena is talking about Esther's necklace, and Elena gives it to her and offers to put it on Rebekah, and Rebekah nods and lets her do it. So Elena puts it on Rebekah, and Rebekah thanks her. And then Elena daggers her right in the back and gets out right before Rebekah's fully desiccated, gets out a quick, I'm sorry, I just can't leave anything to chance. Which I know is true, but it's just, the stabbing in the back just looks so bad.
It is brutal. It's so hard because I really do think this is the moment that Elena and Rebekah could have been friends. Like, there was such a setup there for them to be friends. And she literally stabbed her in the back. Yeah. So that's dead forever.
Oh, forever. Yeah.
Until she turns off her humanity, but we'll get there.
Yeah, then they're besties. But yeah.
But yeah, it does feel like they're building towards a friendship there. And the stabbing in the back is brutal. But I will say, as bad as it is, and as much as I'm sympathetic towards Rebekah in this situation, I'm like, Elena was right for that, though. Like,
no, it needed to be done. I agree, but
it needed to be done, and I do think that if another character had done it, you wouldn't look through it, like, it wouldn't feel as like negative as it does in a way.
Yeah.
Specifically, like Damon says in this next scene. Damon shows up a little bit later. Elena's sitting on the bed, and he's like covering up Rebekah's body with a blanket. Clearly gonna like move it, I guess. And he says that stabbing her in the back was harsh. And Damon says it's very Katherine of you, which Elena does not. She says it does not make her feel better.
Yeah, no.
But like to that point, it is interesting where Katherine would totally do that. And if Katherine did it, I feel like we wouldn't think of it as, we'd be like, that does suck for Rebekah, but Katherine was epic for that. Like,
yeah,
that
she like, got her.
Yeah, that was so smart. So it's funny how like Elena's held to a higher standard in a lot of way than other characters.
Yeah.
You know, she's supposed to be our good guy, not our villain. So it's like, you definitely do think of her as like a betrayal to have done this to Rebekah. Whereas if Katherine did it, I'd be like, go Katherine.
Yeah, I'd be like, thank God.
She did what needed to be done.
Yeah, she is girl bossing. She's getting it done. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Damon says it's very Katherine of Elena, and she's like, not, like, that is not making me feel better.
No.
And Damon says it was a compliment.
Sort of.
It's sort of a compliment.
He did love Katherine, so.
But it is sort of offensive.
Yes.
So.
True.
Yeah. But anyway, so Elena is worried now that she's the weak link, that she's going to be the one that screws this up because she cares too much. And then she asks Damon if he trusts Mikael, and he says no. And she asks, like, what about Stefan? And he's like, no. No. He does say not as long as Klaus has him under his control, which I think is like a fair point, that Stefan generally can be trusted, but not right now.
No.
And Elena says that, like, okay, clearly they need a better plan here. And Damon says he has one, but Elena isn't going to like it. And he doesn't want her having any part of it when it does go down the way it needs to go down. And Elena asks, like, what that means. And he says, do you trust me? And she very, very quickly, immediately.
Yeah, no hesitation at all.
Yeah, says yes. Do you trust me? Yes. And he has the biggest smirk on his face, and he says, then you have nothing to worry about.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah, clearly he's got her. He's got the plan. He will make sure nothing happens to her.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's like, okay.
Yeah.
You got it.
And she does end up going along with it, clearly, as you see.
Which is a good plan. We'll get into it as it gets going. But, of course, first, we've got to go to the failed attempt at a school dance.
Yeah. And back at the school, we see there is, like, a barricade being put up by, it looks like maybe the fire department. Around the school, we see there's, like, water. Tyler comes over, and he's like, the gym is flooded. The dance is canceled. Caroline is like, what will we do?
This is her worst nightmare.
Yeah, we can't not have homecoming. Which is so how it feels in high school. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. And we see Elena is still at the Salvatore house, but she's on the phone with Caroline. And Elena's like, oh, does that mean I don't have to go to the dance anymore? And Caroline's like, no, you wish. The party is being moved to Tyler's house. Which they do always have events at the Lockwood mansion, but like it is kind of random.
A high school drinking party at the Lockwood house.
Like homecoming at a random student's house.
Yeah, I could see that happening at our school though, in a weird way. Like if
definitely,
you know, but it would definitely be on the down low. It wouldn't be through the school, which this is definitely not. So.
Yeah, it's definitely not through the school.
I guess so.
Yeah, and Elena is obviously imagining, you know, kegs of beer pong for homecoming.
Yeah,
that'll be different.
Yeah.
And someone knocks at the door at the Salvatore house at this point. And Elena just tells Caroline, like, she'll go, she'll see her there. And then Elena answers the door, and it's Matt there to pick up Rebekah, who's unfortunately daggered upstairs.
Yeah.
And Elena tells him, like, there's been a slight problem with his date. And Matt tries to ask what happened. And Elena just asks how Matt would feel about a backup date.
Yep.
And we'll see who the backup date is.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
First, we gotta check in at this epic Lockwood party.
Oh my god.
At the house, there is a rock band playing outside.
Yeah.
A full concert.
A full-ass band.
Yeah, full concert going on in the backyard. There is a huge crowd. More people than we've ever seen in Mystic Falls, ever.
Every single student must be there. And some.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, yeah. Which we will get confirmation of later. Yeah. But we're arriving as we see Caroline and Bonnie arrive. And Caroline is shocked. She's saying, how did he plan a better party than me so fast? Like, is there a band outside? What is going on? And I just love this. I thought that was so funny.
I know. I love that it's, you know, it's just funny that that would be something that Caroline would be, like, impressed and shocked by. But also... Obviously, she thinks Tyler planned it, but we know Klaus planned it.
Yeah.
And I feel like her being impressed by Klaus and them having, like, this ability to throw an amazing party on a whim.
Last second.
Yeah, last second. I feel like that's such a good, like, it shows they're so made for each other.
Yes.
Like, they're so meant to be.
I thought the same exact thing. I was like, they're so connected.
They are. They're so similar in so many ways.
Yeah, it feels like they've got those invisible strings linking them together.
Yeah.
They both love to plan a party quickly.
Yeah.
Different types of parties, those we'll get into.
Oh, yes. Yes. We'll see.
But Bonnie is looking around and she realizes, like, I don't know literally any of these people.
Who are these people?
These are not our classmates. And Caroline, like, realizes and says, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, where's Tyler? So, of course, they're going to try to figure out what the heck is going on. Outside, we see Stefan is moving through the crowd. He's, like, you know, whatever, looking around. And Tyler walks up to him with a bunch of beers. And Tyler's like, hey, Stefan. Like... talking to his coworkers at like the water cooler, like he's just vibing.
Yeah, we both work for Klaus, right?
Yeah.
We're cool.
Yeah, we're buddies, bros. And Stefan's like saying like, oh, this is a nice party you've got here, Tyler. Like, you know, kind of saying, good job. But Tyler's like, oh, thanks, but I'm not the one throwing it. I'm just doing what Klaus wants.
Of course.
Stefan's like, huh? What?
Yeah, what do you mean?
And Tyler says, it's not a party, man.
It's a wake.
The way he's delivering these lines, it's so robot. It's so, which is the point. He's supposed to be sired, but
they were giving Tyler something before they were letting him do these scenes where he's like first become a hybrid. He's so peppy. He's so amped up.
Yeah,
he's in his bag.
Fits the vibe.
He's putting his whole Tyler scene into Don't love that.
I don't love that. But yeah, it's just so funny. And Tyler, I'm not sired, Lockwood, is like, I'm just doing what Klaus wants. I'm throwing a wake in my backyard.
I just want him to have a nice night. That's all I
his
want.
dad died, man. Like, it's just so funny that he's
gotta be here
so
for
down
him.
for this. And of course, as this conversation is going on, we see Klaus get up on the stage in front of a cheering crowd of people, and he thanks everyone for being there to celebrate with him. He says it's been a long time coming, and Klaus, I just can't believe he really threw a whole ass high school party to celebrate his father, 1,000 years old father, dying.
It's so the disrespect. It's so like you can tell he hates Michael.
Yeah.
Like he's
yeah.
I'm here to we're done with Michael.
Yeah, this is like dancing on his memory of being like, that guy's dead finally. Yeah. It's
Love
so
it.
funny.
Klaus is an icon.
Klaus is an icon. But then we see Elena, which rewatchers will just say, we know, it's Katherine.
Yeah, I think we just have to say Katherine. It's going to get too confusing otherwise.
So Katherine, disguised as Elena, shows up with Matt. So they arrive like in the front door and they're looking around and Matt is like, this is weird, us being here together, which is a funny line to say because obviously on the first time you assume it's Elena and you're like, huh? Like, I guess your ex is okay.
Yeah.
But I think it works for it being Katherine of like, it is really weird to have Matt and Katherine go to a dance together. That's so funny. But you know, Katherine was probably like, this is great.
Yeah, she's probably like, this is fun.
Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're having a good time and Caroline appears and she, like, Katherine quickly tells Matt, like, Caroline doesn't know anything, don't say anything, like, don't, act normal. Yeah. Which, in context, too, the first time you're like, oh, I guess just about Michael, but then the second time you're like, that it's Katherine. Like, Matt has to pretend that it's Elena.
Yeah.
And so Caroline comes up and tells them that Klaus is here and that Tyler let his master throw this whole party. And Matt and Katherine, like, don't look too shocked.
Yeah, they're just kind of
like, okay. Like, obviously they were expecting as much. Caroline, who I don't think even knows about Michael, like, at all.
No, I don't think so.
Is very confused. And she's like, she says, like, nobody's surprised. Like, what?
We're all just like, okay.
Yeah. And then Katherine covers it up saying, like, oh, well, you know, we kind of figured that he might do something.
Yeah.
And she quickly is like, I'm going to go find Bonnie. And just, like, runs away, leaving Matt and Caroline to talk for a second.
Literally 1 second.
Yeah, literally 1 second. Because Caroline asks Matt, like, what's going on? Why are they there together? Where's Rebekah? And Matt's like, I need a drink. And he just walks away and leaves.
Again, add this to what we were saying in the Why People Hate Matt Donovan episode.
Yeah.
Always just walking away.
Yeah, he can't.
He was like, I need a drink. I have to go.
Maybe he didn't want to lie. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably just not a good liar.
Yeah,
but I was like,
fair.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't even want to play ball there a little bit.
Yeah, no.
Very interesting. But yeah, I was also like, why does Caroline care if Matt and Elena go to a dance together? Who cares?
Yeah,
it's not like it means anything. They've been friends their whole life.
Yeah, they can go as friends.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, then we see our two besties.
Yeah.
Katherine kind of goes into the party, and then we see Klaus and Stefan walking around, and Klaus is telling Stefan that he's been planning Michael's funeral for over 1,000 years. And he does say, granted, in no version of it were any of these people invited, but you get the idea. And Stefan asks Klaus, what's next now that Michael's gone? And Klaus says he's going to reunite his family now. And it won't matter that he's kept them in coffins for years, because Stefan is obviously like,
yeah,
come on, you're really going to just reunite all of them? And Klaus is just like, bygones will be bygones.
Yeah, Michael's gone. Doesn't matter.
He's like, oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like the homecoming queen walks through the crowd, and she's like, this party's great, or whatever. And she has like the little tiara or whatever. And Klaus is like, I see that the homecoming queen still walks among the living, so clearly Rebekah's not here. Where is she? And Stefan says he doesn't know. He thought she was coming with Matt. And Klaus is like, come on, be honest. But Stefan is like, no, really, that is the truth. Which it is. Stefan has no idea Rebekah got daggered.
They're not telling him stuff so that he can cover easily and be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
No, genuine truth. Yeah. And Stefan just pivots. He's like, so do you want to see your father? Like, you want to go see Michael? And Klaus is like, it wouldn't be a party without the guest of honor, so you can bring Michael here. Mm-hmm. And Stefan is like, sure, but first, a bargain. I want to be free of your compulsion if I bring Michael here. And Klaus tells him that once Michael is dead and his weapon is destroyed, Stefan can have his freedom. It will be Klaus's pleasure to give it back.
We'll see.
We will see.
But we got to check back in at the Salvatore house. Mm-hmm. You know it is getting serious when Damon is pouring a cup of blood instead of a cup of bourbon.
Yeah.
Which is what he's doing right now, a full glass of blood. When Michael walks in the room, and Michael asks about Rebekah, if she went to the dance, and Damon jokes about missing the photo op.
Yeah.
Which is like classic. The photo op before the dance is such a real thing. Yeah. And Damon asks if Michael has the steak, if he's got it. And Michael pulls it out from his jacket, showing it's this very fancy, intricately carved piece of very old-looking wood. Mm-hmm. And Damon asks, like, oh, can I see? Like,
yeah.
he just wants to hold it. Michael's like, no. Like, it's the only thing that can kill me and every other original. Yeah. So, like, I think I'll hold on to it, no offense. And Damon's like, fair. And Damon says, I'd offer you a drink, but Katherine tells me you're more of a vampire on the rocks kind of guy. And Michael's like, you can still offer, which I feel like...
Let me tap a vein.
Yeah, let me tap a vein. Which I feel like all the vampires, but Damon in this scene are like always like gross, weird, which is so hypocritical.
Which is, I know. I was thinking that too.
Like, I get it in a way, but it is like... Okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Damon asks Michael why he even feeds on vampires in the first place. And Michael says that he never intended for vampires to have this, like, bloodlust. Mm-hmm. Like, he was involved in vampires' creation, but the bloodlust was not supposed to be there. And so Michael says that over the centuries, he had learned to feed from the predator instead of the innocents. At that point, predator, innocence, Stefan walks right in.
Yeah. Yeah, the true line being blurred between predator and innocent.
The person who embodies both
of those things, yes.
He walks right in and tells them that there's a change of plans, that Klaus is back, and that their, like, plan better not hinge on, Klaus coming there. And they say it doesn't. It doesn't depend on that, and they do actually have a pretty good plan. And Damon says, though, that the plan does not involve Stefan, that he is not needed.
Of course not.
So Michael lunges forward, grabs Stefan, and feeds on him until he falls to the floor unconscious, which is crazy. Karma is real, people.
Yeah, it was like, finally Stefan getting a taste of his own medicine.
Just ripped his whole head off just to let him see what that feels like, but put it back on. But anyway, so Damon's face is shocked and disgusted at that. That is definitely, again, crossing a line.
Definitely.
You don't do that to a vampire.
Yeah.
And Damon asks Michael if that was really necessary. He couldn't just break his neck. And Michael's like, I thought about it, but then he just leaves.
Yeah.
He's like, I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
And Damon kind of just looks at Stefan's body, but he obviously just grabs his coat and leaves. Like, they've got more to deal with right now. Stefan will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the more to deal with. Finally, Tyler has caught up with Klaus. They're walking around the party. Tyler is like, my mom would seriously freak if she saw all these people here. And Klaus replies by saying, your mother won't be a problem. I compelled her to go to church and pray for your friends.
That is so iconic. Because you know she's actually at a church right now praying. For Tyler's
really
best friend, Matt Donovan, I pray.
She's saying one Hail Mary for Elena.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I think Klaus with the compulsion is definitely weaponizing that.
Oh yes, no, yeah.
And Tyler's like, what?
Yeah, Tyler's like, what does that mean? And Klaus is like, look around, you dumb bitch.
That is totally the context to this. He's like, there's Bonnie, there's Elena, there's Matt. Then he says, and your pretty little girlfriend Caroline, which I was like,
I like that. Yeah,
recognizes that they're already building this for us. And he's like, any of these other people? Do you know a single other person here? Tyler's like, no.
Actually, no. I've literally never seen half of these people in my entire life. And Klaus is like, exactly. I invited a few dozen of my friends.
Yeah.
That's my friend Mindy. I picked her up along the way in Kansas. Did you know there's an entire line of werewolves in the Heartland? Then that's Tony from North Dakota. And let's not forget the Seattle contingent. And Tyler's like, so all of these people are just hybrids? And Klaus is like, well, they also love a good party. They're more than just hybrids. They also love to party.
They're more than hybrids to me.
Yeah, exactly. And Klaus goes on and adds, like, they're all sired and want to serve their master. So if anyone should make a move against me, they may feel obligated to retaliate. Feel free to warn your friends. Cut to Tyler warning his friends.
Yeah. I love that line from Klaus, though.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so Klaus because he's always steps ahead of everybody, and he rarely operates from the shadows. He loves to intimidate. He loves to publicly threaten. Like, he's one of the very few characters who will consistently like display his strength and dominance, and like will be constantly like working actively against people who are even slightly thinking about moving against him.
Yeah.
And this to me was one of those things of being like, there's a chance they might try something tonight. Like, they're probably going to. They dragged me all the way back here.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell them now, don't even try.
Don't even try it.
So
yeah,
it's brilliant. But yeah, so that scares Tyler off. And he immediately goes to tell Caroline all about it. He pulls her into his room for a private conversation. And he asks, like, what's going on with Klaus? Like, what are they up to? And she actually does not know anything. So she's like, no, like, I don't know anything. And Tyler warns her that Klaus is 2 steps ahead of them. And again, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know anything. There's nothing even to tell. And even if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. And she tells him, you are sired to Team Klaus. You can't be trusted right now. And so she's like all pissed off. And she's like, I want to go back to the party. And she starts to try to leave. But Tyler takes out a syringe and vervains her before she can get out of the room.
In the neck.
Yeah, in the neck. And she falls down unconscious. Tyler, it's literally, you lost the plot at this point, bro. You're going a little crazy.
He was wild for this.
But also I was dying at his room because you just see, like, in the back corner of his room, there's a chair covered in clothes. I was like, Tyler has a clothes chair is so real. That's so, like, in character.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, they were like, we don't know really what direction to go with tons of decorations. Because it's like a pretty generic bedroom.
It's mostly generic. There's a little bit of sports stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But
and then
the mess is definitely like that's so high school athletic
so
teenage boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very on par.
Yeah. And then we see you back at the party. Klaus walks up to Katherine, who is disguised as Elena, and he says it seems that he has her to thank for Michael's demise, because obviously Klaus thinks that Elena daggered Michael. And Katherine just says, I'm getting confused with the Katherine Elena, but Katherine says, Michael came at her, she didn't have a choice. And Klaus is like, I'm still impressed. It's not easy for a human to dagger an original. And Katherine is just like, well, it wasn't the first time. And Klaus is like, oh, right. Yes, Elijah. And then he notices, he's like, you seem nervous. Obviously, Katherine would be very nervous.
Yeah. Katherine is way less like cool around Klaus than Elena is, which
I
is
know.
interesting.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like Katherine has
She's been running for
way
hundreds of
more
years.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also and I was going to mention this in like a little bit, but I feel like Klaus, like, yeah, he dragged Elena through the halls, but I don't know.
That's true.
He's so much more menacing toward Katherine.
That's true. Because he actively wants to kill her. Elena right now is like...
Yeah.
He needs her.
Yeah, like we said in The Reckoning, he's kind of like playing good cop.
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
definitely is.
he's still aggressive, but like he's still
Yeah.
trying to be like,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to win
Elena
you over.
hasn't learned her lesson yet with how far Klaus will go. She's heard about it, but she hasn't experienced it. Not necessarily. Yes. Obviously, killing Jenna in the ritual.
I was going to say
farthest.
a little, but yes.
A little.
Yeah.
But not to the extent Katherine has.
Yeah.
Of killing her whole village. Literally everyone she's ever met.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, Katherine makes a good cover from Klaus suspecting that she's nervous. And she's like, I'm not nervous. I just don't like you.
Loved that.
And Klaus is like, let's just get straight to the point then, shall I, love? People have been after me for 1,000 years, and I'm always one step ahead. So whatever it is you're thinking of trying, go for it. Give it your best shot. You will not succeed.
Yep.
And then we see Damon just walking up to the front door.
They're going to take their best shot.
Yeah, they are going to take their best shot. And we see that a hybrid is standing at the bottom of the steps, like being a bouncer for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And the hybrid tells Damon it's invite only. And Damon just rips his heart out and says, here's my RSVP, hybrid. Aren't there actual high school students here other than like, the core group?
I don't think there is, though. I feel like that was kind of the implication from Klaus and from Bonnie, that people were like, wait, it's only like our little group, and other than that,
I guess so. I was just like, it's wild of him to just rip out this guy's heart.
Either way, it is definitely wild.
In front of potentially a lot of other people.
Because you also have no idea what random people Klaus has brought and who's compelled or not. But anyway, Damon doesn't really care about the consequences
he doesn't
anymore,
care at all.
as usual, but specifically this time. Upstairs, speaking about not caring of consequences, actually, upstairs in Tyler's room, he has brought Matt to help with Caroline, asking him to get Caroline out of there as fast as possible. Which, the fact that Tyler's like, this situation is so dangerous, she can't be asleep in my room, Matt. You have to get her out of the building. Does he think they're gonna burn it down? He's like, this whole place could blow any second. Get her out of here. It's not safe. Like, I feel like she'll be fine asleep in his room, but okay.
Also, what is Matt going to do? Throw her over his shoulder? Walk through the whole party?
I guess he has to. He probably has to, make her look like she's drunk or something. People are like, oh, boy. Anyway,
oh, my God.
Anyway, Tyler's telling Matt, that something's going down against Klaus, that there's some move being made, and that the whole house is full of hybrids, and they can't let anything happen to Klaus. Those hybrids are all loyal to him and will not let anybody, stand against him, so it's not safe for Caroline. And Matt's like, not safe for Caroline, you attacked her.
Yeah, what?
What? But Tyler's like, I'm protecting her.
I'm keeping her
I'm helping
safe.
her.
Yes.
And he asks Matt again, can you please get her out and get everyone out? Save everybody. This is not safe. Which, as bad as all of this is, I'm like, at least his intentions are pure. He is still trying to be that good boyfriend that we know he can be. And, he is really trying to protect her. Obviously, we have so many problems with all of the way this is going down, as Caroline will, and we will talk about later. But I don't know, as he's trying as hard as he can while still having to be sired to Klaus.
Yeah.
It's an impossible situation.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm not as outraged as Matt that he vervained her.
No.
The neck was a little crazy, right in the neck, but I'm not so outraged.
And doing it before asking her to just leave is also crazy. But we'll talk about that later when Caroline reawakens.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So now that Matt has the Caroline situation under control, Tyler leaves and goes downstairs back into the party, where he runs into Damon, who just immediately grabs him and is shoving him through the crowd of people into the mayor's study that we've seen.
The office that
that they're always in. And Tyler tells Damon, whatever move you're making, Klaus is ready. He will kill anyone here if he needs to. And Damon is just like, tell someone who cares. And he attacks Tyler, and they're fighting. And
Tyler tries to bite Damon.
Yeah, Tyler does try to bite Damon. So Damon like pulls out the white oak stake, and he's like about to stake Tyler when they both like, you know, start clutching their head in pain. We know a witch is on the scene.
Classic.
And, you know, they stop fighting. And Bonnie comes in, and, you know, it's clearly her that's made them stop. And Tyler and Damon are on the floor, and Bonnie like stops using her powers on Damon, but Tyler kind of stays down and stays like, you know, not conscious.
Yeah, like knocked out. Yeah.
And Damon is like, you weren't supposed to do that to me. Like, what are you doing? And Bonnie's like, you're not supposed to kill Tyler, obviously. And then she sees, you know, after she induced the aneurysm spell, Damon had dropped the stake, and she sees it on the ground, and Bonnie's like, is that? And then Damon immediately shushes her and mouths to her, they're everywhere. Obviously, all the hybrids.
Yeah.
And they can also hear. And Bonnie is just like, why do you have that? And Damon says, because I'm the only one who can get inside.
Yeah.
I can't believe Michael trusted him with it.
I know. I thought that was kind of crazy, too. But I think Michael is a good strategist. Like, he's a Viking. He is a war strategist.
Yeah.
And is definitely like, you know, I don't like it, but I do see that it is our best way to get out of this. But, speaking of war strategists, Damon was going to use the white oak stake on Tyler?
I know.
Bro, like, that is, like, what a waste of a weapon.
I know.
Like, I know you could, he's probably thinking, like, I can just pull it out and reuse it. It's
Yeah.
not like Tyler would burst into flames or anything like that. And they've never killed an original, so they don't know that happens.
Yeah.
But still, the fact that Damon was like, I'll just use it on Tyler, wipe
Oh,
it
I've
off.
got it. Yeah, I've got it.
Wipe
Yeah.
it off a little bit, stick it in Klaus next, whatever.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, that's really insane, but okay. But anyway, we cut further into the party where Klaus is playing beer pong with like
him.
hybrids, and another hybrid comes up to tell him that he has a visitor. And Klaus is like, I'm about to win here, so they're gonna have to wait.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, actually it is. But the hybrid says the visitor's name is Mikael. Klaus looks so disappointed. Face immediately drops. That just ruined his night. But he perfectly throws the ball and sinks it into the last cup, winning beer pong, which I was like, how many takes did that take
I
to
know.
have to keep doing that over and over again?
I know.
Just
Like,
get that one shot.
he's either great, he's either really good at doing that, or it took many, many takes.
Me, I'd be there all night. They'd be like, Sarah, we need this shot,
They'd
please.
be like, get someone else, get like a stunt double.
Stick their hand through my like dress and their hands throwing it. Yeah, I was like, I would be there all night. That would not. I could not.
That'd be good.
But anyway, yes, Klaus wins beer pong. I never thought about the foreshadowing, but that is smart.
Yeah.
But of course, we go to like the front lawn to where the front door. Klaus is staying inside the house very smartly.
Of course.
And he goes to the front door while Michael is waiting. And he says, hello, Niklaus. The classic taunting hello. And Klaus says, hello, Michael. Why don't you come in? Oh, that's right. I forgot. You can't.
Got him.
8.
Yeah, he ate and left not one crumb.
Klaus, I love him, but like he is a petulant child with Michael. It's really funny and
No,
tragic.
he really
obviously,
is.
it's kind of
It
like
is.
if there's any therapists watching, I'm sure you could tell us about regression to childhood trauma or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know.
For sure.
It's definitely what's happening. But yeah, it just made me laugh. Why don't you come in? You can't.
Yeah.
It's just so funny, so taunting. And Michael is taunting him right back, telling him, well, why don't you come out? And Klaus is threatening, like, oh, well, I'll have my hybrids go tear you limb to limb. They're just, like, tossing things back. Just verbally.
Yeah.
And Klaus says that, like, even if the hybrids can't kill Michael, it'll be a fun party game to have them just rip him from limb to limb.
Yeah, which also, I know, like, we know, like, within the show, within the universe, this can't kill, like, a hybrid vampire, anyone, like, just ripping them limb from limb. But, like, what happens? I always wonder this.
I do
It
too.
really wouldn't kill them?
Well, okay, here's the thing that's interesting. In Twilight, if you, like, rip them limb to limb, I think the pieces can, like, come back together.
Oh,
so, like,
my
you
God.
have to burn the body after you do that. So I'm like, would the originals just, like, kind of come back together? Or, like, somehow regenerate? Like, it would just...
Yeah, I guess that's what it would be. I like the idea that they would just be, like, slowly...
Yeah. I just can't imagine that, like, if... you know, you killed an original by chopping them into tiny pieces. You threw one of them in a meat shredder or something. You're telling me they wouldn't die? Like, it's just crazy. But apparently they won't. Apparently they won't. So anyway, Michael's taunting him, calling him the big bad wolf. Klaus is like, if I snap my fingers, my hybrids will get you.
Yeah.
And Michael is telling him he's hiding behind his playthings like a coward. And he says that Klaus forgot that while he sired all of those hybrids, they are still vampires. They can still be compelled. And he reveals, he has a hybrid step out revealing that he clearly compelled them. And they are dragging with them Elena, who we know is Katherine, but you're supposed to think is Elena.
Yeah.
And that's obviously like a huge shock of like, Michael's turning on them. He's using Elena, like, you know, in front of Klaus. And Michael threatens Klaus, saying, if you don't come out, I will kill her. I will kill Elena. And Klaus tests him, like, being like, go ahead, kill her.
Do it.
I don't care. And Klaus says that he doesn't need his hybrids. All he needs is to be rid of Michael. That's the one thing that he wants. And he can kill all the hybrids. He doesn't need them. And Michael's, like, taunting him again. Like, what? To live forever alone? You'll be by yourself for centuries? Again, just, like, the emotional manipulation of being, like, no one could ever love you. You'll have no friends. And, like, he's clearly just, like, laying in every single insecurity and every single thing he could ever throw at Klaus here.
Yeah. And he's saying, like, you know, even the hybrid's loyalty is forced and all of that. And Klaus just, like, starts to tear up.
It's so sad. He really starts crying.
He really does. Yeah. And it evolves into, like, full tears a little bit later on.
Yeah.
And Klaus just tells Michael he's calling his bluff at this point. And Michael keeps trying to get Klaus to come outside and face him.
Yeah, but at this point he's being like, boy, like,
yeah,
you're
he's doing the boy that we mentioned last episode. Yeah. And Klaus was just like, listen, I'm not stupid. If you kill her, you lose your leverage. So go ahead, kill her, old man. Kill her. Kill her.
Yeah.
Like, goading him into killing her.
Which I feel like is crazy that he doesn't think Michael will do this.
See, I wondered, based on Klaus and Katherine's earlier conversation, if he's a little suspicious that it's Katherine. And he's like, it doesn't even matter.
Maybe.
I don't know. Klaus does seem genuinely shocked when, spoiler, Michael does, like, stab her. So I'm like, maybe not. But I think he's a little suspicious. And again, I do think he's relying on leverage.
What I thought he was suspicious of is that they were working together. So he just thought that he wouldn't do it. But I'm like, Michael is so vicious and unloyal that, like, I just can't imagine he'd really believe that Michael wouldn't kill anybody. Yeah. Even Rebekah. I'm like, I think Michael would kill anybody.
Anyone. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway.
Klaus is fully crying now.
He's fully crying, and Michael just laughs at him and tells Klaus that
it's so much worse.
I know. And he tells Klaus that his impulse will forever be the one thing that keeps him from being truly great. And again, Klaus's tears are falling at this point. And then Michael then just stabs Katherine with a dagger in the back, and then she falls to the floor, and Michael laughs as Klaus, this is where he looks like really surprised. Yeah. Which is like, I think it seems like he does think it's Elena, but...
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even on the slight chance it's Elena, obviously shocking and kind of devastating. And at this point, Damon rushes up behind Klaus, stabs him with the white oak stake, but only into the stomach, which, you know, why not go for the heart on the first blow? I'm not sure.
I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. And then, as Damon stabs Klaus, like, in the stomach/side, Katherine gets up from the floor. Michael is like, Katherine. Yeah. Obviously, the reveal is revealed. And Katherine just smiles and says, kaboom. And, like, she has the 2 Wolfsbane grenades, and she pulls out the pins and throws them at the crowd of hybrids that are in the yard.
The kaboom is so funny.
The kaboom is so good. So many little iconic things.
Yeah.
And then back in the house, we see Damon is about to stake Klaus. Like, he has him pinned to the ground. He had him weakened. Yeah, he has him. He is seconds from death when we see Stefan lurch through the room, knocking Damon off of Klaus and holding Damon down, and while Klaus is just on the floor, like, you know, Damon is no longer on top of him.
Yeah.
And then we see Klaus look to the stake, grab it, and jump out through the door on top of Michael and staking Michael in the heart. And Damon is screaming, like, what are you doing? What did you just do?
Yeah.
Like, and then
obviously, like, angry and devastated and, like, shocked and every emotion possible.
Yeah, exactly. And as, like, the stake goes in and then Michael bursts into flames, obviously dying. Like, the screaming is a little much.
I was gonna say, I kind of laugh at the screaming, but it's so visceral.
It is
like,
very visceral. I'll give him that.
It's guttural. Like,
yeah, it is. He could really be dying.
Yeah.
And Damon again is like, Stefan, what did you just do? Mm-hmm. And Klaus interjects and is like, he's earned his freedom. So Stefan still had Damon pinned down at that point, and he lets go of Damon, gets up and faces Klaus, and Klaus says, thank you, my friend. And then he starts compelling him. You no longer have to do as I say. You are free. And Stefan sort of looks back towards where Damon was, but Damon is gone.
Yeah.
Iconic.
The way Stefan literally stepped up like he was about to earn like a literal medal of freedom.
I know. I was like,
bro,
are you going to put it around my neck? Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like, he literally was like he was getting the greatest honor.
I know.
Like, no,
I was like,
you just lost everything, bro, which he knows, but
I know.
Still,
I was like, is he sired? It was such a weirdly like.
I mean, he is still compelled at that point, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy. Obviously crazy for so many reasons that we'll continue to like break down as this lots more reveals to be had here.
Yeah.
It always feels like the episode should be like kind of done at this point. Like there should be one little quick wrap up and then it's done. But there's actually like a lot more to reveal and break down as we go. So we'll keep moving.
Yeah.
Because we have to check back in on Caroline and Tyler.
Yeah.
At the Forbes house now, Caroline is like laying in bed. She's still fully like dressed in her homecoming clothes, I think, at this point. And Tyler comes in asking if she's okay. She's obviously not okay.
Yeah.
She's pissed.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And Tyler says the most placating, like, sorry I stabbed you.
Yeah.
What? Sorry I stabbed you to your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, Shay and I burst out laughing. We were like, this is
Tyler.
It's such a ridiculous thing to have to say, and to say it so earnestly is so funny.
Yeah.
But he goes on to say that it was the only thing he could do to get her out of there. But Caroline points out, you literally didn't even ask me to just leave. You literally didn't ask, like, go home and watch Dancing with the Stars. Like, he resulted straight to verbating her, which he's like, you know, if I had asked, you wouldn't have left, would you? And she's like, well, no, but, like, that does not make it right. And he definitely thinks, he's like, well, there you go. Like, he thinks that makes it okay. The fact that she wouldn't have actually just left.
Yeah, he literally is like, I saved you from your own stubbornness.
Oh, that is so condescending.
Ugh, because he says it like jokingly and very smugly too.
Yeah, he's making light of it.
Yeah.
And she calls him out for that. She's like, this is not funny. How am I supposed to be with you when you are sired to him?
Yeah.
And Tyler's like, this is just who I am.
I did not love this. Yeah.
He's just making light of it. And he's saying, like, there's nothing I can do. Like, Klaus can't be killed. I can't be fixed. Like, just understand that I'm okay with it. Obviously, she doesn't understand.
Yeah.
She can't be okay with it. She doesn't understand how he can be okay with it. And he acknowledges that, like, he is stuck with Klaus. That, like, he has always felt stuck in his life with the moon and with the anger and all of these things. And, like, basically, he's just making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
That there's nothing he can really do. So, like, he might as well just, like, accept it.
Yeah.
And he does say he thinks of, like, being sired as being, like, a price he has to pay, basically, to be released from the pain of a full moon transition, which is obviously a very important thing to be said.
Yes,
as we get into, like, the back half of the season. But, yeah, I don't know. The scene is so interesting because I feel like it's hard to not sympathize with Tyler a little bit through that conversation. But it's also hard to not really side with Caroline on this because Tyler, like, continues to plead to her that, like, please, like, everything we've gone through, don't turn your back on me. Like,
I know. Yeah, that's where I was like, I do feel for Tyler. Obviously,
none of this is his fault.
Yeah, it's not his fault. He probably doesn't want to be this way.
Yeah.
And Caroline was so good about the full moon thing that it's like, you'd hope she'd still be around for this, but it's so different.
It's so
and
different.
I understand why she wouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, you do really see both sides, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You do. And so she kind of hesitates in saying that, like, she just kind of says, like, Tyler. And it's pretty clear that she isn't going to accept what he's going to say. And he's just like, I got it. And he storms out of the room.
Yeah. Not a great place to leave them in.
Yeah. But the other people are also not in a great place.
Other people in a really not great place. Elena and Damon. We see Elena and Damon in the living room of the Salvatore house. And they, like, are just so confused. They don't know where it all went wrong. Yeah. Elena is like, how did this happen? And Damon is just, like, basically going over it, like, out loud.
Like, thought of everything.
Yeah, he's like, thought of everything. Klaus having hybrids, thought of it. Michael turning on us, of course, thought of it. We even brought in Katherine so that Elena wasn't in danger. anything that could have gone wrong, they were prepared. And Elena is like just so shocked. She's like still just saying like, I don't get it. Like Stefan wanted Klaus dead more than anything. Like how could he have possibly turned on us? And Damon is just like, we blew it. And Elena asks him, you know, where Katherine is now. And Damon says, Katherine ran again, like she always does, as usual, when things get bad. And I can't even blame her because Klaus would have crushed her if he knew. Obviously, he does know in the end. She had a role in it. But yeah, so of course she had to run for the hills. And Damon just like keeps going on this. And he's like, I had him, Elena. I had Klaus. This could have all been over. And then he throws his bottle of bourbon in the fireplace. And Elena is like, hey. And then like, you know, Damon, like she kind of reaches for him and he pushes her away at first. But then she like really grabs his face and she's like, Damon, listen to me. And she tells him that we will survive this. We always survive. And Damon just frowns and I think it's really sinking in. He's like, we are never getting Stefan back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Stefan told him in the last episode, like when he gets his freedom, he's gone. So he could think he's long gone for all they know. And he asks Elena, like, you know that, right? Like, you know, Stefan is gone for good. And Elena is like, fine. We let him go. We just have to let him go then. And Damon nods. And then his phone rings. And he answers it by saying, not really interested in the play-by-play of our failure tonight, Katherine. And then we see Katherine driving in a car somewhere. She says she's calling to say goodbye. And she doesn't know what to tell him. Like, he had a good plan, which is high praise coming from her. And Damon is like, well, that's not really comforting at the moment. And then Damon asks her if she's going back into hiding. And she kind of just like, you know, basically saying, yes, she is. She's like, my life at least isn't boring. Goodbye, Damon. And Damon's just like, take care of yourself, Katherine. And they hang up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah. I like this Damon scene and Elena scene, obviously. It's such, again, we say it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Like the intimacy, the coupliness, like they're just so... you know what I thought of in this scene? We people. They are we people.
They are we people. We always survive.
Yeah, we always survive. We have to let him go. I was like, they're we people.
They are we people. So true.
Yeah, and because they're both collectively very much done with Stefan. Like every episode is getting worse and worse. And like we said a lot in episode 5, how Elena was very much done with Stefan after the Reckoning. Yeah. And this episode is again another like we're so done with Stefan. Yeah.
Irreparably.
We'll continue to have a couple more of those episodes after this of like we're very much done with Stefan. But you know, he'll make a comeback. But which as this next scene will promise to the viewers, Damon and Elena don't get to see this yet. But after Katherine gets off the phone with Damon, we see her, you know, in her car, and she says, he doesn't know where it all went wrong. And the camera pans to the passenger seat where we see Stefan sitting there with her. And he says he doesn't need to know. And Katherine stops the car asking if Stefan is good from there, that she needs to put like, you know, miles between her and Klaus to clue she's been giving him a ride. Then we get a flashback to the Salvatore house where Stefan's still like down on the floor after Mikael had attacked him. And Katherine wakes him up. He's obviously so out of the loop. He thinks it's Elena at first, but she corrects him. And he's like, doesn't know what's going on. She gives him a blood bag. Then we flash back again to the party.
Meta flashback.
Yeah, we're flashing forward from that moment. Still in the past. To the party when Katherine was talking to Klaus dressed as Elena and like saying that she looks nervous when Klaus is saying that she looks nervous. And she says, I'm not nervous. I just don't like you. And Klaus warning her about the thousands of years and people and blah, 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 as we saw. But then we see a little bit more of that conversation than we saw the first time. We see Klaus tells her that he has already assured that if he dies that night, Damon will too. He says, even in death, my hybrids have their orders. So you kill me, you are killing him too. That's a big reveal. That's totally huge. Skipped over the first scene. And we cut back to the car where Stefan asks Katherine how she knew that he would stop Damon and save him. And she says, like, I didn't know, but I hoped. I hoped that you would want to. Yeah. And we flash back to when Katherine was waking Stefan up and he's drinking the blood bag coming like back to life.
Yeah, getting pepped up.
Yeah, since Mikael had drained him of his entire life force and all of his blood. And Katherine tells him that like what Klaus had said about Damon dying, that Klaus is assured that Damon will die. And Stefan says like, well, do we just pull the plug on the whole plan then? And Katherine tells him that like, no, like Michael will kill.
Too late for that.
It's way too late. Michael will kill all of us if
Yeah.
we try to back out of this now. And she says that she knows Stefan's humanity is off, but there is obviously one clear solution here. He's like, what? And she says, for Stefan to care enough to save Damon's life. And Katherine says that she's going back. She will carry out this plan. She will make sure they kill Klaus, and they will be free of him. But then Damon will be dead. She says specifically, your brother will be dead, Stefan, unless you care enough to do something about it. And we cut back into the future, into the car, where Stefan asks, like, you wanted Klaus dead for 500 years. Why would you risk all of that just to save Damon's life? And Katherine says, like, it wasn't just to save Damon's life. She was saving Stefan's too, his humanity. And she jokes, like, she liked the old him better.
Not me, but okay. To each their own.
To each their own, Katherine, I guess. And Stefan says, like, you don't care about us. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you're the most selfish person we all know. And Katherine's like, I loved you. And I loved Damon too.
Yeah.
And she kind of gives a spiel about, like, humanity and fighting her humanity. But sometimes it comes back on. Which to me, this whole thing was interesting because I was like, I don't think her humanity has ever really been off. But
no.
I guess she does suppress it a little bit. And maybe that's what she's referring to there.
Yeah. I was thinking about Katherine and her humanity a lot in this episode. And I was thinking, I feel like Katherine's humanity has probably more or less always been on. I mean, again, she's probably
dimmed, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think, again, she kind of says this exact same thing. She's just never lets it get in the way. Like, I think it's on, and she acknowledges those feelings, but I think she's just, like, she's either, like, great at compartmentalizing or something.
I was going to say, I can't relate. I don't think I could possibly ever, but...
But, yeah, I mean, I know, I just was, like, I felt so bad when Stefan was like, you don't care about anyone, you're selfish. And she was just like, you know that's not true.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Stefan, I don't know. It's so obviously not true. I don't think Katherine
it's obvious
cares.
that it's not true. I think Katherine prioritizes herself so heavily that it's hard.
Sometimes it probably doesn't feel true.
It does not feel true most of the time, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Stefan says, like, I can't let it all back in. I can't let my humanity back in. I don't want to. And he says, not after everything I've done. We see this time and time again when, like, vampires turn off their humanity, that the more you've done with your humanity off, the harder it is to turn it back on. Because whatever reason made you turn it off, you've now added, like, dozens of atrocities that are preventing you from wanting to turn it back on. And Katherine says, like, you're gonna have to. Sorry. Like, you need to in order to do what I need you to do. And she says, get mad. Good lead up.
Iconic. I love that. Such a good scene. I thought all of, like, Katherine's quotes were pretty memorable. I don't know. I really like this scene with Katherine and Stefan.
But the reveals are good. That's what I like.
Yeah. I also love that Katherine was, I mean, it's Damon in the end that gets Stefan to kind of push himself to get his humanity back on, at least enough to save Damon's life for that minute. But I think it's interesting that Katherine is kind of always the one that's pushing him like this.
Yeah. She does care about him. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of when she helps him, like, with the safe, like, get over that after he has that whole summer of drowning. I don't know. Just something about the fact that Katherine somehow can kind of speak to Stefan in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's not Katherine or anything that gets his humanity back, but she knows what it takes.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I think speaks to her and Stefan's relationship. Whether or not he thinks there was anything there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Love Katherine and Stefan, but they're going their separate ways. She's got to get out of town. Stefan... We'll see. But not yet.
One quick scene.
We have to see Rebekah is still face down in the Salvatore's cellar.
Yeah, they've moved her to the basement.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the positioning of the dagger in her back, she's face down in the dirt.
Yeah,
but
it's not great.
Yeah. Elena really did her dirty in that one. But
yeah.
Anyway, we see that. And then
they've just left her phone next to her.
Yeah, they left her phone next to her. And we see it's ringing, and it's Klaus calling her. And then we cut to, we see Klaus sort of walking through what looks like a parking lot or something, leaving a voicemail, Rebekah, asking where she is because Daddy is dead.
Yeah. Pick up the phone, darling. Daddy's dead. That's his.
I really like that.
And he does say, it's time for a family reunion.
Yes. And he's walking through the parking lot, moving towards, like, a truck. He gets another call and switches to it, and Klaus is like, Stefan, boyfriend.
Yeah.
You missed me already.
You're already back.
Yeah, excited that he's like calling him of his own volition. But then Stefan is like, I'm calling to thank you for my freedom. And Klaus is like, I like to think of myself as a man of my word, more or less. And it is true. Like, he did keep his word,
Yeah.
more or less. And Stefan says, here's the thing. Freedom came at too high of a price. You took everything from me. And Klaus is like, let's get past this. Let bygones be bygones. Klaus's catchphrase of the day.
Yeah, resentments get old.
Yeah, and he says resentment gets old. And as we see Klaus move toward the truck that he had the coffins in, Stefan says, you know what never gets old?
Oof.
Revenge. And Klaus opens the trunk to see all of the coffins are gone. And he just goes, no. He's like, so it's all he can muster. He's just like, no.
Yeah.
And Stefan is like, what's wrong? Missing something? And we see Stefan in a large room with all of the caskets.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. And Klaus is like, what are you doing? And Stefan tells Klaus he's just enjoying his freedom. And Klaus, of course, is like, I'll kill everyone. Everyone you know, everyone you've ever met. And Stefan is just like, you do that and you'll never see your family again. I wonder, Klaus, as someone who's been one step ahead for 1,000 years, were you prepared for this?
Ooh.
Yeah.
This scene's so iconic to
I
me.
know.
This whole phone call, I feel like I use GIFs and stuff of Klaus on that
Klaus
phone call
just
all
looking
the
angry
time.
on the phone call.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
It's a really good one. I wish they gave Stefan a little bit more of like a zinger at the end.
Yeah, it was a callback to the Katherine conversation he had earlier, but it's not that effective.
Yeah.
But I definitely do like it overall. And the reveal that Stefan had the coffins is
so good.
bigger than any other reveal this episode. It's so jaw-dropping.
Oh, yeah.
It's really an insane thing, like on a first watch. Even on a rewatch, I'm like, oh, he got him.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, love you, Stefan.
Yeah,
He knew.
It's a good one.
Yeah, love that.
But yeah, that's it for this episode. And this is like the mid-season finale, so it does feel like a,
Yeah,
you know, like
it feels so early because it's 9. But
yeah, 9. I know. It's funny that they don't do an exact halfway point, but it is like the halfway point of the season. It's a very big finale episode, and the next one will be resetting into some new storylines. So excited to get into that.
Yeah. For now, let's hear what you all think. We'll turn it over to our voicemail host for a second.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Rachel. My name is Danny. Big fan of the series and your podcast. This episode is a great one. Firstly, really want to shout out to Nina's acting in this episode. On a first watch, there is no reason to believe it's Katherine, but on rewatches, you see Katherine's little gestures and reactions that you wouldn't notice on a first watch. Also, I really want to say how much I hate that Elena is the one that daggers Rebekah. I wish they could have found a different character to do that, because at this point in this series, Rebekah does not deserve that from Elena, especially after their conversations of last episode, and I feel so bad for Rebekah in this episode on each watch. And lastly, I appreciate Katherine and Stefan's conversation about the humanity switch at the end. It confirms how I feel about it, which is that it can be more of a dimmer. Thanks for your podcast, and have a great day.
Thank you to our voicemail host for your message. For this episode, to wrap it up, for all of our deaths, our in memoriam section, we have obviously the big one, Mikael, killed by Klaus. That's a huge one. It's funny that he was like the big bad. Now he's done.
Yeah.
He was in it for like 2 episodes, but yeah, we're done with Mikael. And then Damon also killed a random, like the hybrid bouncer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rebekah gets daggered. So
Bonus
like a partial. Yeah. A little, like a half. 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of pocket or things we would have done differently. I feel like there's a couple contenders here. This one not so serious, but I did think it was funny, was Matt seemed to enjoy going to this dance with Katherine, which I was like, that's a little out of pocket, Matt.
It is a little out of pocket. I like that.
She's a little evil, but every time they would cut to them, they'd be smiling at each other. They looked like they were having a good time. I was like, okay, Matt.
Good for him.
Whatever.
I support that.
Yeah. I just thought that one was a little funny one.
Yeah. For my out of pocket, I had 2. I think the one is like too serious, and we already kind of talked about it. One I thought of was just like Elena stabbing Rebekah literally in the back.
Yeah.
Feels
So
a little
serious.
out of pocket. But again, I think justified, unfortunately, needed to happen. And then the other one I thought of was Tyler stabbing Caroline in the neck.
That was my other one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just him verveining her in general without even being like, let's leave. Nothing. Just straight to the vervain.
I know. Well, actually, it wasn't even him stabbing him that was the most out of pocket to me. It was the specific apology being, I'm sorry I stabbed you.
Yeah.
That being your apology to your girlfriend is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Tyler this whole episode I thought was like the
He's
most
so out of pocket because he's, like you said, he's so hype and like, I don't know. He's just so on funny. One.
I think it has to be Tyler, just generally being out of pocket, because it's not, he's tired. It's not like it's really like him per se, but it's still him.
So I think Tyler, no matter what. So,
Tyler's
a good one. For quotes, I had a few quotes. I actually had a Tyler quote, so I guess I'll start there. I liked when Tyler said, "It's not a party, man. It's a wake."
That's so funny.
So Tyler's just being so outrageous in this episode, and I really liked that.
That one is a memorable one. I have so many quotes. I have 5.
Okay, perfect.
Which I'll rattle off. A good quick Katherine one was, I really liked when she says to Klaus, "I'm not nervous. I just don't like you."
Yeah.
Like, that's
a good one. It was a good cover, too.
It was a good cover. And I do feel like Elena would say something like that. Elena's always, again, she's willing to run up on anybody. She doesn't care.
She is. No, it's so true.
So I
like that one.
Elena-esque, a good cover.
Yeah. The other one that I really liked, I don't really have a winner per se, but I did really like this one a lot. Klaus saying to Tyler, "Your mother won't be a problem. I compelled her to go to church and pray for your friends."
I had that one too.
Okay,
I thought that one was really funny.
I thought that one was good. I don't know. I don't know if which my winner is, but
that was good.
No, I have one more.
I was gonna say, I was like, this was such a quote heavy episode.
No, it is. I could have had a lot.
So many. I have a lot.
You do
another one, a quick one that I liked was Damon saying, "I am forming a special secret contingency plan." And Elena says, "What is it?" And he said, "If I told you, it wouldn't be a secret."
Wouldn't be a secret.
I thought that was funny. He's right. That is how that works.
Yeah, that's a good one. The last one I had, I really did like when Katherine says to Stefan, and we talked about it a lot in the humanity episode, but I liked when she said, "Humanity is a vampire's greatest weakness. No matter how easy it is to turn it off, it just keeps trying to fight its way back in. And sometimes I let it."
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny it's your favorite quote and I didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
I breezed right over it.
I mean, there were so many options in this episode.
So many options.
I also liked when Katherine just goes, "Get mad." I like that too.
Yeah, that's a memorable one. One. I had another quick, just funny Damon one of, "I'd offer you a drink, but Katherine tells me you're more of a vampire on the rocks kind of guy."
That was also a good one.
But I had a very clear winner that I knew I was immediately going to make my best quote. So I think it's funny that you didn't specifically say it. You vaguely said it, which was Klaus's line at the very end to Stefan of, "I will kill you and everyone you've ever met." The delivery from Joseph Morgan on that one is
great.
Iconic.
It's great.
That's my favorite one. And I feel like I see that one on like TikTok and stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that one is like one of the lines that's more memorable to me than most of the others. Although I always forget that part is in this episode, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason it didn't stand out to me. It's like Klaus could say that in any episode. So it didn't necessarily jump out at me, but I do like that. And
I just find that part so iconic, personally.
It is. But I mean, that whole phone call is so iconic. We can go with that one. I mean, I had so many options for Klaus anyway.
Many options generally.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. You could throw a dart and get any quote and it would be a good quote.
Yes, very, very quotable.
All of them are valid. But I just specifically really like, "I will kill you and everyone you've ever met."
I like that one. It's so Klaus. We can go with that.
It's such a Klaus threat.
Yeah.
So best quote winner, Klaus. The best song category here is a lot harder. Usually for a dance, you're getting a lot of song options. But here, there are 4 songs played from the band that play at the party. Yeah. They had My Morning Jacket was the band that played at the party, and they featured 4 of their songs. You Want to Freak Out, First Light, Holding On to Black Metal, and The Day That Is Coming. Those are the 4 songs that they play. And they're all good. I don't know. None of them really specifically stuck out to me, so I didn't really have a favorite amongst those. I also did really like the emotional one that plays Free Like You Make Me by the Carey Brothers. They play the Carey Brothers all the time. They're always in episodes. That's the emotional song between Rebekah and Elena. So I don't know where you were landing, but those were pretty much all the songs here, and I felt like all of them were like good. I didn't feel strongly.
I felt kind of the same. I didn't really feel strongly. I limited myself to 2, both of them being My Morning Jacket, just because I felt like, My Morning Jacket being in it is so memorable that there's like a band for the wake and everything. So I was between You Want to Freak Out, which is the song that plays when the party starts, or First Light, which is what is playing when Klaus and Stefan talk. And Klaus is like, just being like, "Get me, Michael."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We could do a poll. We could just pick.
I don't remember either of them, so I will not be picking because I
Okay.
genuinely just be
Let's
picking
do a poll.
randomly.
Let's do a poll.
We'll let you guys pick.
Yeah, you guys pick. Dealer's choice.
Cool. Between My Morning, whichever of those songs she just said will be the poll.
Yeah, or all of them. Whatever. You can do any song.
Those two. We got to narrow it down.
Yeah, that's fair. It can't be 5.
So we'll put that on our Instagram on the Monday after this episode goes live. So keep an eye out for that. And whichever one wins, we'll be adding to our Best Song of the Episode playlist where we add all of the winners of Best Song from Season 1, 2, and into 3 now. And then we also will be adding it to our Season 3 playlist where we have all of the winners of Best Song and all of the honorable mentions. So that one is already jam-packed with lots and lots of songs.
Many.
So you can check that out, linked to our various bios and descriptions, along with our TikTok and our Instagram, where we're always posting fun clips from the podcast, from the show, edits, memes, polls, all sorts of random interactive things, always trying to get you involved in the community so you can join us there. And, yeah.
And listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or watch the video version on YouTube if you want to watch us, chit chat, make facial expressions, wear our little like homecoming-esque outfits. Yeah, whatever you want to. Yeah, not really, but a little. So join us next week for Season 3, Episode 10, The New Deal. That'll be a good one.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and or listening to this one. Bye.
Bye.